Welcome to the episode of the Love and Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, I continue my trek through the world of Temptation Island. This has been an incredible fifth season that is slowly but surely winding down. We have reached the final episode before the reunion, the final Bonfire Part 2. Before we jump any further, I want to shout out my good friends over at the Temptation Island Reddit board. They've been incredibly supportive of the Love and Reality Podcast as we have dove into the world of Temptation Island. Cannot thank them enough for the continued support. And as I continue this ride and journey throughout Temptation Island, I've got some good news, some great news for you guys. I have an interview coming very, very soon with Temptation Island Hall. It'll be dropping soon. Further coverage that's coming to the Love and Reality Podcast in the very, very near future. I've got lined up for you guys. I've got the ultimatum, I do's and reunion recap. I'm going to probably break down some of the episodes as well at some point, whether that's on YouTube, whether that's on the podcast. I haven't really decided yet. The ultimatum, Marry Me or Move On, Season 2. I will be sitting down with Roxanne and Lisa. I have interviews with them, as well as Brian and Antonio. That's what you can look out for over the next couple of weeks. If you've been following along and listening here, I'm dropping exclusive content on the YouTube channel. Over the last few weeks, I've been covering the Challenge, the USA Season 2. I've also become covering the CW show, Fight to Survive. And I've got a couple other things up my sleeve over the next couple of weeks. So if you're listening on podcast platforms right now, please head on over to the YouTube channel. That's in the link in the bio. Head on over there, subscribe to the channel for me just because you love me. And then on top of that, stay tuned for all of the incredible content that I've got coming out over the next few months. Obviously, right around the corner is Love is Blind, and you know we're going to dive head deep right into that. But without further ado, this has been an incredible season. And folks, let's dive right into where we left off with Vanessa and Roberto going at it because he slept in the same bed with another girl. Actually, you know what I want to do real quick? I shouted out my friends over at the Reddit board on Temptation Island. I want to read some of you guys' comments based off of this past week's episode. Let's see here real quick. Let me go through this real quick. Catsy65 said, I was actually so impressed by Roberto, and I was really actually hopeful for them and Vanessa, and went and got upset over something she already knew. I was confused why she chose that hill to die on upon, unless it's an argument they made beforehand. Anyway, run, Rob, run. I'm excited about the comment. I commented on here. You'll get some more clarity, especially during the reunion. She's a control freak. She's young. He needs to move on. Mother working 750. It's a toxic relationship. It won't even last if they do stay together. I have a feeling Vanessa is going to calm down and kind of did that for show. Maybe I'm dumb, but I really do think she changed. I feel like it was a good cliffhanger. Somebody responded to that. I'm with you. It's a show. It's produced at moments. I don't disagree with that as well. Natural Born Child said, it really got to me how Mark told Rob and Vanessa how emotionally intelligent they both were. Then when Roberto says she slept in the same bed with Desiree, she loses it immediately. This is the first time I legitimately empathy for Vanessa. She exhibited a lot of toxic abusive behavior that was hard for me to watch, but in this moment, she sounded genuinely hurt, and I felt bad for her. She sounded genuinely hurt. Also, I'm so proud of Maricela. We all are proud of Maricela here. Snarky Snarkison, I love Christopher trying and failing to save face after she made it known she was done with his toxic ass. TG11T, I was expecting Chris to leave with Alexis, and he did, but I wasn't expecting Maricela to leave. I was expecting Maricela to leave with Christian, but she didn't, but instead she chose to leave alone, which threw me for a complete loop. Yeah, I love that. I love Maricela. Big fan of Maricela. And folks, listen to me. If you're listening to this, you probably have already watched the reunion. You already know what happened. It gets spicy as spicy can get. But like I said, we picked up right where we left off with Vanessa. Roberto said he got carried away in the moment. She said she went out of her way to be respectful. She said, that's how little I mean to you. And he said he was respectful to be in my bed. She asked him if she saw his dick or if he saw her naked, and he said no on both occasions. She asked if he plans to contact her outside of this place, and he said no. She said, this is a sign of my growth. Mark talked about the old Vanessa got triggered and brought it back in. Vanessa said she needed to hear him say she didn't mean anything to him, that she needs to hear him say how she felt to him. Things, they get a little twisted here, but he says he feels nothing for Des and he loves her deeply. I love this so much. I love Vanessa. I really do. I feel like she deserves better. Obviously, understanding, and I've already watched the reunion. I know what kind of unfolds, but and with that relationship, it's definitely interesting. But for me, she has proven she's a dominant and beautiful, and she knows what she wants, right? You know what I mean? I do think the younger aspect here does hinder some of her vision, some of her sight. But for me personally, like Vanessa, I've been Vanessa since day one, right? I felt like she knew what she wanted. She never crossed any lines. And she got something away from this. Like I was incredibly impressed with her ability to bring it back down. Like Mark said, you know, the old Vanessa came out for just a minute, and it's nothing wrong with that. If they had this communication, which it seems like they did, he slept in the same bed with another woman, like that was off limits. So she got a little riled up. It's okay. Vanessa said she will be patient with Roberto on the timeline she gave him. And of course, Mark says you have your three choices, which honestly, let's be real, Roberto, you have two choices: leave with Vanessa or leave in a body bag. There's no way between. I'm sorry. We know that. We understand that. We're grasping this knowledge, right? You know, he says he wants to leave with her, and she said, and then of course she said every queen needs a king and wants to leave with him. I love Vanessa, but Roberto seems terrified of her. And I mean, let's be honest, I look terrified of her too. I love you, Vanessa. She said she almost lost the. She says to him, "You almost lost the best thing that ever happened to you." It's Paris in great time. Paris came to the bonfire with a brand new haircut and looked stunning, like absolutely stunning. I loved this move, right? You know what I mean? It was a power move. It was a I'm a changed woman, and shape up or ship out type of shit, or I'm leaving with another man. Like this island has changed me, and for the better. It was just a beautiful. She looked absolutely gorgeous. She shows up. She doesn't know what she's going to say. Grace said he's confident but not sure what she will say, and doesn't know what doesn't want what he feels in the moment to affect what he will say. Paris arriving with that statement haircut, meaning she means fucking business, and I love it. We get the rules. Each person has to speak, other person has to listen, ask the questions, followed by the decision. Great speaks up, saying he has trust issues, and then realize that he could be vulnerable, and that Great that walked in ain't the same Great that's walking out. He feels good about where he is. Pear said she learned so much to forget. She learned so much. She forgave her dad and was forcing him to do things because the qualities that her family wanted from her, like marriage and kids, and she apologized for that. Mark says if she needed to say everything that she needed, and she has this shit-eating grin on her face and says, "Nope." Conversation time. Great says, if you have any questions, she asked right off the rep if he fucked in the house, and he said yes. Paris said that when they got here, he said he was going to prove that he'll be a loyal and better man. He said he connected and things happened. He brings up her saying she would suck someone's dick. He said that he's been happy with his connection. She fires back, "I'm glad you didn't beg me to leave this island with you, because the answer would have been no." She dropped bombshells on this. I told you, man, it's the haircut. She came with the haircut. She had the confidence, and she just shoved it right back in Great space. It was beautiful. Mark challenged them to say something they love about one another. Paris said, "I know you miss me." She said that he's really handsome, that she once was so mad he would make things good for them. When she was mad, he would make things good for them. He said he hopes that that they don't become enemies and ask for a hug. He said to her, "I know you don't like Tahijik. Stop playing." That's actually pretty funny. Mark says if they could reconcile down the line. She says, "No." Pretty loudly. It was pretty funny. Great said he has decided to leave the island with someone else. Paris said she's leaving the island with a Tahijik. He said he is happy for his decision. She said, "I'm happy you're able to cry now." Fuck. Oh man. Mark asks Gray to leave, asks Paris to Hejik now. He comes in, he says, hey, beautiful. He loves her hair. He like says all the right things in this moment. It was very, very nice of him. She tells him that he made her a better person and allowed her to open up, and asked them if he wanted to leave the island with her. And he said, hell yeah. He said, you made me a better man. I love them so much on this island. He says, you look so fucking good. Oh my God. I love that. I love that he addressed the hair. Not only did he address the hair, he complimented her in a way that was just beautiful. It was just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Great turns. It's great turn. He talks to Nafisa. He says, do you want to leave the island with me? And she says, yes. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, seriously, what was that? Like, we're sitting here, like, ready for, like, full-fledged, heartfelt conversations. Hey, I know we've been here for a few weeks. You want to leave the island with me? Yeah, let's do it. All right, let's leave. That's it. All right, here we go. Hall versus Caitlyn, the battle we've all been waiting for. I hope she smacks the shit out of him. That would make me really, really, really happy. All right. That being said, she said she isn't scared or nervous to talk about her emotions. Hall said breaking up with her is the hardest thing he's ever had to do, but now he doesn't want her to hate him. Bro, let's be real, man. Like, he's become the biggest enemy in this show's history, I believe. He arrives and says, I have a lot to get off my chest. And he goes, I hope she listens. What the fuck, bro? Like, I want to publicly apologize to Caitlyn for sticking up for this man for the first 3 episodes. You know, I liked Hall early on in the show, and I liked what he brought. He was funny, he was charming, he was charismatic. He just seemed like he was having fun, and then he just kind of turned into a dick. And how he's treated kind of Caitlyn. Hall is up first. He said, you do mean the world to me. In the past years have been great. Coming to the island, they were missing something in their relationship. He said, the truth is, I never wanted to marry you. You've never been my person or my soulmate. I proposed with all he had and saved up, and she never planned a wedding. He didn't come to the island looking for love. He said he connected strongly with someone else and had been faithful until he told her. They've missed the emotional connection. That escalated quickly. See, the thing about this is this. There is a way of which this conversation happens where I don't think he comes off as this arrogant dick. You don't have to come to the table and say, I never wanted to marry you. You're not my soulmate. You never were. You sit down and say, look, I love you, and I appreciate our time together. I just don't see us having a future together. See that? See that? That's how easy this is processed. You know what I mean? You don't have to insult somebody. You don't have to demean somebody. You don't have to discredit 8 years of what you had by being a dick. But Caitlyn's turn. She says, I'm here to officially end this chapter. And she said she's grateful for this opportunity because she didn't go on the show, she would have made the biggest mistake of her life marrying him. She was never fighting for herself. She said the little things like romance, attention, she never got from him in 8 years. Hall, literally, this is a moment where you're supposed to sit down, shut up, and listen. All Hall does is talk, try to interrupt her the entire time. She said there is no tears left, and she thinks that he is selfish and cares about number one, quote unquote, him. And she said she won't be fooled again. This man will never, and I mean ever, ever, ever stop this whole conversation of freaking the fuck out about her saying and calling him selfish. He brings up her calling himself and wants to know why she felt that way. She said the first time they broke up they broke up because he wanted to leave. And he came back and said it was the right thing to do. She said, you wasted my time. She said he is a very selfish man and hasn't changed. And he looks at her and he goes, what have you ever done for me? Again, if you're looking to be the bad guy, here is what we are. You know what I mean? I understand there's going to be questions about the edit and all of these things. No, these are the words that have come out of your mouth. Like, holy shit. She said, I didn't want to move to Charleston. He said, I'm sorry I gave you an amazing townhome. God bless America. He said, I agree that I was selfish and hid things from you. And Mark kind of fires at him and says, be more honest. And she said, I'm leaving as an independent woman. She said that she's found herself, and people have said that she's so much fun and so much free without Hall, and just like this different human being. He said, I hear you loud and clear about the things she said. And he goes, I've absolutely enjoyed my 8 years with you and appreciate everything you've done, but I don't really know what you've done for me. I struggle with this so badly. Like there's just a way to handle yourself. She said, I got nothing left to say. She said she is grateful for this journey. She said she made a connection with Sebastian, but she's leaving the island alone. I love that so very much. I love her and Maricela doing that. He said, I clearly have a lot to work on, but I can't deny that he met someone that meant a lot to him and will leave with Michaela. She said, fuck you, Hall. Fuck your townhouse. And I'm taking the dog. I love her so much. The two lovebirds are leaving. She says, yes, happy to have a boyfriend again. Mark said, nothing makes him happier than seeing new love. Hall is a happy man. She said she's glad she followed her heart. Wow. What an interesting end to the episode. This is just the stew, just we're just preparing the cake as we're getting ready to ice it with the reunion. So thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the Love and Reality Podcast as we dive into the final episodes of Temptation Island. If you're a fan of Temptation Island, I hope that you stick around and listen to more episodes of the show as we go into the world of The Ultimatum, as we dive into the world of Love is Blind in the near future, some interviews coming up in the near future as well. So thank you guys so much for listening to another episode. I will talk to you guys soon.